Welcome. My name is Deacon Kurt Piat. I'm a deacon at St. Dominic's, and I'd like to reflect with you today on the gospel reading from the Gospel of Matthew. The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. Jesus said to his disciples, "Not everyone who says to me, 'Lord, Lord,' will enter the kingdom of heaven, but only the one who does the will of my Father in heaven. Everyone who listens to these words of mine and acts on them will be like a wise man who built his house on rock. The rain fell, the floods came, and the winds blew and buffeted the house, but it did not collapse. It had been set solidly on rock. And everyone who listens to these words of mine but does not act on them will be like a fool who built his house on sand. The rain fell, the floods came, and the winds blew and buffeted the house, and it collapsed and was completely ruined." The Gospel of the Lord. There was a young man, 24 years old. He was at university in Paris in the mid-1500s. He was a great philosopher. He had a bright future in front of him. He was sure to be a great academic, to be rich, to be famous, to be well respected. And his friend came up to him one day and said, "What does it profit a man to gain the whole world but lose his life?" Quoting to him from the Gospel according to Matthew. The two together worked through the spiritual exercises, and eventually each of them became priests. The young man went on to go to missions in India, Sri Lanka, and Japan. He spent most of his time with the poor and the marginalized. He was able to proclaim the good news of Jesus Christ to people in much different cultures, much different languages, all because he trusted in the Lord Jesus. His faith was built on a solid foundation. His faith was built on a rock. And because of that, he was able to spread the good news to many different people. You see, that's what each and all of us are called to. We're called to sit at the feet of Jesus, to hear him, to understand him, and then to be like him, to live our lives in the Beatitudes, to live our lives in the spiritual works of mercy. That's what this young man did. You see, that young man was St. Francis Xavier. He was one of the founding priests of the Society of Jesus. His friend was St. Ignatius of Loyola. In that order of priests, the Jesuits, the Society of Jesus, are responsible for so many of our institutions of higher education. And it's all because they built their faith on the words of Jesus. All of us know people who talk the talk but don't walk the walk. Yet Jesus asks us to walk the walk. So I encourage you to live your life through the Beatitudes. Live that mission field, which is your life, in the love of Jesus, the love of everyone, inclusive to everyone, regardless of their culture, regardless of their language. And you too will have your faith built on a solid foundation or rock. Because all of us want to be able to stand before Jesus and hear him say, "Well done, good and faithful servant." And none of us want to hear him say, "Be gone, you accursed person."